Number one, Rachel Zegler, overly demanding. Demanding double her pay, even though that she's a D-level actress, in my opinion. And number two, you had somebody like Gal, who walked away from this project that really dismantled the entire plot, the entire story that was being put together by the writers and director Mark Webb. And once she walked away, that really, put a,
All right.
Per FINRA's corporate action, or corporate action, right, that came out.
All right, everybody. I'm not ready for this big show. I'm not ready. I am not ready. Let's see where the stock is trading. 572. It was as low as 554, which is volatility. Remember, as Ham always says, volatility is to try to make you panic and to get you to sell. Well, I think they found out that all it's doing is adding buyers. That's what they found out. All right, so the volume is 301. I'm going to write that down. I'm going to write down 572 and 301.39K as we start our call and see where it goes. And then let me just look if there's any kind of news. Of course, my phone is very slow. Good morning, Eddie. Black Bezos. Good morning. Blessings to you. Akira Nova. Moody Waters. Lucky is doing very well, although he's a little bit, senile. Hey, Vanden Plays. That's a great name. Ordinary Angler. Nice to see you. Martin Giroux. And I can't explain why I can't find out if there's news. So we'll just find it. We'll find it out together if there is any when the ham comes on. I don't know what else to really talk about. There's been some, for lack of a better word, personality conflicts, and I have my point of view on it. But I just want to remind everybody that the enemy is the criminal shorts. And, it's not particular CEOs. It's not particular, investment representatives. It's not particular, even people on some of the calls. I mean, they can annoy you, but they're not the prize. They're really irrelevant. If we're seeking the truth and we're fighting for truth and justice and the American way, with minus some of the bad things that America has done in the past, we're going to come out ahead, and these people are going to be forgotten. So anyway, 573.97. Who trades like that? 573.97. Your dog is sick. Well, that's tough, Ricky. Hey, Busy Brands. How's it going? ¿Qué pasa? ¿Qué pasa? ¿Qué pasa? All right, we have 11 minutes till The Voice. Does The Voice still have it? Busy, I hope you didn't get COVID. Hey, Daphne. You missed me? Or you missed Busy Brands? I mean, I know that can be picked up on the screen. All right, let me see what happens. No news. Nothing on finger. I hope you didn't get it, but it's not fatal, I don't think, for a young man like you. Logic, because I know some of you might be wondering. Sorry to yet again have to change it. I think approval is next week on Logic. Logic responded to the comments from the SEC, but apparently Aubrey Spack had a couple of cleanup comments they had to answer. So it could come sooner. Approval could come sooner, but with the way things go, I assume it'll be next week now. So it's a little bit of a little annoying. On the other hand, it gives us a chance to buy more shares. I hope so, David. The dividend should be unrestricted in mid-October, and we'll see. I mean, the whole premise there is with the warrant as a dividend last year, catching out companies like Fidelity and Wells Fargo. The real thing about this dividend as a restricted shares is, are they going to just create counterfeit shares in your account? That is fraud. That's securities fraud. In the past, they might have gotten away with it, but I think the fact that Wes Christian and his inestimable team of crackerjack attorneys are on it. I think it's going to be tough for a Fidelity or a Wells Fargo or others to just put electronic IOUs in your account. Against what trade? Against what promise? Against which prime broker? Then they're going to be complicit in breaking the law. And we'll see what happens. I mean, it's a way of testing the theory that the United States securities laws matter and are enforced. And if you break the law, you lose your license, you lose your franchise, and you go to jail. Warren Buffett said that you don't need a lot of different shares, you just need one good one. Well, that's true. We were trained that the best thing to do would be to hang on a second. Okay, just getting updates. I forgot what I was blabbing about. Um, Let me see if I can remember. I can even the dividend. Yeah, the whole point is to try to catch out the system, and if they want to cheat and give you IOUs, Wes Christian and his team is going to be right there to subpoena them. And so I have a feeling that the dividend, the GTII restricted shares, could it's not a guarantee, but it could cause buying in of GTII fail to deliver shares. That's the idea behind it anyway. All right, I got to call in to The Voice. Does The Voice still have it? Does The Voice still sound good?
Hey, Bill, you ready?
Yeah, born ready.
Hold on.
Born ready.
All right, everybody, welcome to Boring Call 2000. Again, this is not to buy or sell. This is our opinion, so take it with a grain of salt, make your own decisions, and this is what we feel and what we see. I'll lead off with number one. I posted early this morning before I went out, and I told you, the naked shorts always give us the discount, the Kramer discount, we used to call it. They try to sell it off to create a panic, and then we don't fall for it anymore, you know. So it's just it's the same thing. It's the only pattern they have. They're trying to create volatility. The volatility needs to go to the upside to bring in sellers. Pushing it down brings in buyers. It's the same pattern. Change the symbol and, add your symbol. For example, like Tesla's down today, down to 248. Got to 245. People stepped in, turned it. This is the same thing in NVIDIA. It's the same thing. You buy the dips. They need volatility. They push it down, and this is what they do. This is, like, for example, NVIDIA. They pushed it down 17. The stock was almost at 500 again. They pushed it down, and they're trying to cover. This is how they do it. They try to get people to bail out of the stock. I told you. They know that investors are going to use NVIDIA, Caterpillar, Goldman, whatever, as a source of funds. When they start losing other places, they sell their winners. And the shorts go after that. That's their angle on this whole thing. Again, the volatility, they push it down to get you to panic to sell. There is no selling. Stock goes up on 1,000,001, down on nothing. Those are buy signals. I can't pull the trigger for you. You have to decide yourself. But these are all keys from professional traders on what the signs are on when you're supposed to buy a stock. And to me, this thing is like a shooting star. It's telling you, buy it. These guys are out of gas. What's the next thing, William, that I noticed? If you look at your option chain, our criminal friends have not been dabbling on the put side anymore. There is a total of 17 puts that have traded today. 17.
So no synthetic shares, as they call it?
Nothing. They're basically, remember, everything they do costs money. So let's say they're playing the game at $6, after cost to carry, every day the most they can make is $6. The most they can make tomorrow is $5.98. The most they can make at the end of the week is $5.95. Their profit is just being eaten alive every day this stays alive. Same thing with GTI, the same thing. The cost to carry eats them alive. At some point, it doesn't even pay because they can't make any money. All they want to do is get away from this mess so they don't go to jail. That's what they're doing. They're not making money anymore. They're looking to stay out of jail. All right, that's the game. That's all they're trying to do. They're trying to get out of this without selling more, without going to jail. Unfortunately, the cat's out of the bag here, and a lot of people know about it now. And, the market's down a little bit, but you need to pay attention as an investor. The number one sign in the sell-off is there's no volume on the sell-off, no puts trading, and the company, this stock has a huge naked short reported every day. You know, I'm not going to count it. I'm not going to post it anymore. I'm just going to round it up until they start covering. I'll just make it 170. It's 170 million. For those who think we're crazy, take away 100, make it 70 million. You don't like 70 million, make it 35 million. But try to cover 35 million when the stock doesn't even trade. It will be a bloodbath. All right? Everybody knows about it. So again, when it goes, it goes. I can't give it a second. It just feels like it's ready to go. These are the signs that you have to look for in whatever stock you're trading. There's no activity on the put side, so there's obviously no one wants to bet with the Lynn partners here. For those who love to tout and believe that the shorts are the almighty, go out there and buy some puts. We welcome you. Knock yourself out. We want to watch you do it. As you can see, all the big mouths that post that this is a scam or this or the butcher, the baker, they don't put their money where their mouth. They're all full of shit. Right? And the 12th, I think the 12th of September, we get the updated, the real short. So I'm curious to see about that because we had that day they borrowed 300,000 shares. And since they borrowed their shares, the stock has gone straight up. So the longs have absorbed everything, and we still march higher. So all they're doing is just playing fluff. They're using small amounts of shares to manipulate the stock and just trying to hold it down to get people to bail out. I'll use one of my old cliches, the trend is your friend, follow the trend. As you can see, they're just selling it back and forth, 100 shares. It's a non-event. It's complete non-event. So if you're looking to make a bet, if you had a bet in my arm, this is the time to do it. Catch the dips. Buy the dips, sell the rips. So if you buy it here, the stock runs to 7-8, you want to flip it, do what you have to do. But that's how professional traders would be buying this. If I was running a hedge fund, I'd be all over this dip. That's what I'd be doing. Any questions, William?
Well, EO wants me just to let you keep talking. Apparently, when I ask questions, it interrupts his pleasure of the call.
Well, listen, I have a very small brain. And William actually, when he starts shooting the questions at me, it starts to get the cylinders fired up here. So
you're not dumb.
I'm not. Listen,
Megan Gretchen, she said you're not dumb.
That's correct. I got to dig that email up and put it out there for everybody to see.
Yeah, you should put it out there. She says you're not dumb.
But listen, I'd rather be dumb and lucky and have the stock go to 500 real quick, so everybody will say, "Hey, boy, look at that dunce."
Do you think September calls and finger are still okay?
Yes. Today is only Wednesday. We got Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and 5 days next week. I'm an option player. Options are live until next Friday at 4 o'clock. That's how I look at it.
If it's, let's say, 30 million shares of finger to cover, what would the price be?
$30 to $50.
30 to $50.
If it's 10 million, you're going to get 15 to 20. I mean, it's just, it's impossible to cover.
There's
only sellers here. The market's down. There is no selling. It's them. And they're selling 800 shares. Listen, they control, when there's no buy orders on the books, they drop the bids. So instead of bidding 65 cents for their 100 shares, they drop it to 61. They print 100 shares and the bids all drop. So this is not an orderly market. It's here, there's the print at 61. I don't know how many shares traded.
That's being kind. There's no price discovery.
The whole thing is right. These guys sell it, and I could put the loophole again where the head of NASDAQ, Tom Gear, I think that's his name, they were concerned that these guys would make markets where they would sell all day and not buy anything back. They knew about it. That was from 2007. All right, so this is what they do. You sell stock all day, you anyone who bids, they hit the bids and then they just drop it. Print 100 shares at the low. Now the stock is down 24 cents on 100 shares. That's what they just did.
Alpine looks like it didn't buy in the Kramers to protect its own rear end. Will Jeffries not buy in the Lynn Partners to protect Jeffries?
Guys, listen, this is fraudulent activity. Jeffries will have to report it to the federal authorities. They need to protect their franchise. They're not here to be Lynn's partner. Lynn is not filling a bucket up of cash and giving it to the CEO of Jeffries to let him slide. You understand? This is what they're doing. Is they created such a devastating. It could be devastating for Jeffries, put them out of business. They could have hundreds of people get thrown in the street. I mean, lose their jobs, just like Credit Suisse. That's how devastating this is. All right? As devastating it is for the companies they destroyed and the investors they looted on the short side when they have to cover and they're forced to cover. Look at the devastation that happened on the short side in GameStop. It's devastating. Look at Volkswagen. The guy jumped in front of a train. The guy was in the top 100 of richest people in the world. He jumped in front of a train. Michael Jordan lost his basketball team to the guy from Merlin Capital because he invested in them and he lost. And he had to put up more money. I mean, so it's devastating. It's unlimited liability when you're short. And that's what the SEC should be ashamed of themselves for creating these opportunities. But you know what? We're happy they created it because we're going to basically show them what happens in real time when they allow this type of criminal activity and it goes unchecked. That's what we're here. We're here because we have the opportunity now to change our lives. That's what the game is about.
Can people cover in the pre-market and aftermarket? And can you discuss the lack of volume in the pre-market and aftermarket? And just discuss.
Most people don't play in pre-market and aftermarket. Most people don't do it.
Right.
There's nothing. If you go to cover in the pre-market or aftermarket, there's no activity. What are you doing? You're just marking it against yourself. The only reason there's activity in those markets is when a prime broker is forcing someone to say, hey, get your ass out there, go buy back a couple 100,000 shares right now. You owe me money. That's why they force those issues.
So it's possible, but unlikely.
Oh, yeah. They can bid up 10 points. Okay, but that's because they're being told to do it. They're not doing it because they want to make us happy.
Right.
Those pre-markets, when you see those big moves, that is someone that is busted that needs to cover immediately. That's the sign of someone going out. When you get the hook, that means your prime broker is saying, hey, we're buying you in. You're short. You didn't deliver. We're buying you in. And the guy goes, no, don't do it pre-market. You go, we don't care. You have to take the loss, and we'll send our attorneys after you. That's what happens.
You say the pattern's always the same.
Those pre-market moves.
You say the pattern's always the same.
Big as someone.
Go ahead. Sorry. Go. Are you there? Ham? 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 I didn't ask. Jack, you look so nice today. I didn't ask. You got cut off.
Hey, you got kicked off.
No, I don't know. Maybe I knocked you off because I'm a show.
I mean, can your people hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, but it got a little something happened. I don't know what.
I'm not moving an inch. So
Yeah,
again,
so it's probably me.
Okay, so again, the devastation is think about people when they lose, raise money, jewelry, whatever. That's the same panic that you're going to see in the stock market. Same thing.
Right.
Only that, when you have to panic, you do it on your terms. On Wall Street, when your prime broker calls you up or your broker says you got a margin call, they don't hesitate because they have to protect their own ass. That's the game.
Absolutely.
So, do I think the stock is going to rally? Yes. Are there any sellers? No. You can see that yourself. All right. You buy it when they try to mark it down. I'm a buyer on dips, seller on rips. Mark it down. That's all you have to understand. And if you did that for the last couple of months, every time these guys attacked and knocked it down, you got a better price. Whether it was 4, they try to push it below 5. Now we're over 5 again, and where are they going? No one's selling it. The company has a $5 value with a upgrade coming from benchmark on the upside. The company has said they're on the way to profitability. What's the race to sell it? The only race is that there's someone who's short who cannot afford the position. Go out and buy something you can't afford. You see how...
I didn't do it. It wasn't me. It wasn't me. And the call fails. It wasn't me. I think it's a conspiracy by busy brands. That's who it is. I don't know. It's not calling him back. Let's see. Yeah, I'll try to remember my comment on Warren Buffett. It's not calling back, so maybe there's something wrong with my... Maybe they have my phone. There we go.
Hold on.
It's all busy brands' fault. It's a schemer. It's a schemer. It's bloody hot today. It's bloody hot, mate. Oh, hold on. Now you just hold on.
Bill, hold on.
Yes. Same.
Bill, you there?
Same patterns over and over
Okay,
and over again.
so I'm talking about the options. Again, if the stock starts to rally and you're nervous about it, okay, you can always sell your options. You know, let's say you bought the 5s at 50 cents. They're $1, $1.25. You can sell half of them and have a free ride. You can, if you own the 9s and the 10s, you can actually sell. If you pay 20 cents for them, sell some at 40 cents. You sell half of them and you get them for free. I'm a believer that if I own the 5s, if it goes, I'm going to turn around and buy twice as many of the 7s or 8s with the profit that I make. So again, if the stock is going to go, if you're here, let me just rephrase that. If you're here to try to trade it to make 50 cents, then please get off the phone. This is not about, I'm not here to help you trade for 50 cents. This, to me, is a life-changing situation. So, again, I'm trying to show you how to position yourself for a life-changing event versus making 25 cents. If you want to go trade, go play NVIDIA. Go play Tesla. They're up and down 20 points a day. That's where you belong, not here. This is a stock that's under accumulation, okay? We're all here for an event. an event is that Lynn Partners is going to go bust. They're going to get shut down, and they're going to be forced to buy into 170 million shares. That's it. That's the event. They're not curing cancer. So if you think they're curing cancer, you're in the wrong stock again. This is the perfect stock right now. It's a $5.75 stock, not a $500 stock. This is a stock that has been going sideways to up for a long time now. Okay, so this to me, again, just like Ace says it, or Arker, all these guys, this is a life-changing situation, and it's building every day. People ask me, did they cover? Where did they cover? Yesterday we traded 1.1 million. The naked short was 600,000 to 700,000 shares. If they just covered that, the stock would be $9 today. They haven't done anything. They don't cover anything. So it's all teed up. It's getting stronger. There's smarter people buying it now. I can't tell you why they aren't running in now or when they're going to run in. I can't tell you that. But I know there's smart people around. I had a guy yesterday. He bought 50,000 shares. He said, for a client that's a short seller, an IBM, Microsoft type guy, a short seller, not a naked short seller, a real short. He went long 50,000 shares, and he told me, he goes, listen, I have a client that's a short seller, legitimate short seller, and he's going long this stock. And he doesn't know. He's going to try to get us the answer why he's going long. So that means that it's starting to get into hedge fund world. You know, you can't do anything about it. That they're coming. The word is getting around. Again, I told you, I met a ton of people over the long weekend, and they were buying yesterday. So when they buy, what do? They tell their friends. It gets viral. That's what happens. And that's what Lynn Partners can't handle right now. If this thing's getting viral, they have a problem that's 10 times bigger. Ed, William, any questions?
Yeah. When will they add strike prices to the option chain?
They tried that trick already with the half price options. I don't know when they're going to add new ones. I don't know. It's the market makers doing it. It's the market makers. They're the ones that can add it. We can't do it. They can.
What forces them to cover? We're already above the $5.
Margin. Write it down.
Well,
Write it on your forehead. So when you look in the mirror, you'll say, oh, my God, margin must mean something.
We're already on 529. We're above 528, 529.
And the stock acts like $1 million. Okay? You got to remember, go behind the scenes. Think of the prime broker, the Lynn Partners, or the criminals, wherever they are in Germany, wherever the hell they're doing this from. They're required to put up more money every day. And you see the same pattern every day. I told you before, it's the easiest thing to see. Real shorts want the stock to go higher because they make more money when it doesn't pan out and the company fails or whatever the hell they bet against, right? Whatever it may be.
Right.
I did this. I'm telling you, I did this every day for the best short sellers in the world. I've never seen them come out with a negative story. They shorted, they borrowed it legitimately, and they waited for the company to fail. Whether for the technology, whatever it was. Sometimes it took a week, sometimes it took 2 years. I never knew when it was going to collapse. They didn't even know when it was going to collapse. They just didn't like the technology, whatever it was. The naked shorts are here to manipulate, and they can't let it go up. Because when it goes up, they get blown up. They don't have any money. That's the problem.
And it's the margin, but then it's the buy-in. Margin, there's a lag, but then there's the buy-in.
Well, they can't keep covering their bets.
Right.
That's the margin problem.
Yeah.
I want to go bet $1 million at a crap table. Hey, they don't. If I only got $10, they're not going to give me leverage me up to $1 million. I can't afford it. They won't let you play. That's how it works.
He's good for it.
Yeah.
Well, one
You're
thing
right,
about the pattern always being the same, it occurs to me, is nobody's selling. So it's not the same. They figure they can create volatility downward and cause a panic. It's not working this time. Or
No, listen, it hasn't worked for a while.
right.
They did it before where they were aggressively selling it down. The aggressive bashing it is stopped because they know there's buyers standing here scooping it up. I told you last week, for the people that listen to the call all the time, we call this a bear trap. That's when the shorts come in, think that they're going to try to break it and have the stock collapse, and all of a sudden, as they start hitting bids, it gets all scooped up because the longs are waiting there for them. And then the next turn, they sold all that stock down 50, 60 cents, and it turns and it's against them. That's a bear trap. That's what longs are doing right now. Big players are trapping the shorts. It's pretty easy. Our shorts are all morons. It's pretty easy. These guys are the type of guys that show up when the police offer free Super Bowl tickets to criminals. They all show up and go get arrested. These are the same type of idiots.
How will we know when the dividend for GTII becomes free to trade that we
I
have?
said it was October 15th, I heard.
I know, but how will we know we have real shares or if they're IOUs?
Let's let Wes Christian decide that. I can't. I can't tell. We don't know. That's the problem.
And if those shares become free to trade, people are asking me, two people, is the stock price going to go down for GTII?
Can it go down? Anything can happen.
Right. I don't see any reason why, when those become free to trade, that the stock goes down.
Anyone who's saying that, who's getting a free share of a 65-cent stock, who's in the need to sell those free shares, then sell your shares and move away from the stock.
One guy.
This is about a bigger play.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, this is about something else. If you want to get out, move along. There's nothing you can say. Most people that I know couldn't care less about those shares.
Exactly. It's all about trying to reconcile the system.
That's all it is. These are all things to be done. You know, E-Trade, Ameritrade, are they going to journal a counterfeit share into your account? Basically, they're doing an unregistered offering. That means they're creating a share. The company gets no money for it, and they're flooding the market with a counterfeit share, and they have liability then. So let Wes Christian deal with that. If E-Trade, Morgan Stanley, all these guys want to do this stuff, God bless them. Let's hope we roast them all alive. You want to sue the deep pockets and let them go get Lynn and the Kramers.
The volume in finger for the duration of this call is 40,000 shares. And it's probably not real.
All right. I think that most of the trading you're seeing in this slow period is just back and forth nonsense, trying to create some volume on the sell side. People, remember, these guys can do whatever they want. They can cross stock. Hey, just cross stock. We got to deliver 20,000 shares. Cross 20,000 shares from account A to B. B is now short. A is settled up, and that creates 40,000 counterfeit shares on a given day.
Right.
A wash trade. The buying goes up by 40,000. I posted it. A wash trade is fraudulent, and it gives the appearance of trading that doesn't really exist. So it's all false.
It's okay with the SEC, though.
They obviously, are sound asleep.
We're gonna get them. We're gonna get the system where it hurts in their pocketbook, and
that's exactly the point of this whole exercise.
Yeah.
What is today's date, William?
It's the 6th of September.
So I've been looking. I look at the SEC enforcement site every day, 4 times a day. The SEC has put up one enforcement a litigation on September 1st, one, and hasn't been one after that. I mean, it's so light on the 23rd, since the 23rd, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 cases. They have billions of dollars, and they can't find a criminal. Think about that. We've been delivering them a group of them. What do you call them? A gaggle? A gaggle? Is that the word?
Well, it's a gaggle of geese.
Yeah.
I don't know what a group of criminal shorts are.
A group of morons. That's what it is. But again, this is, how could you not be lining these guys up left and right? It's just amazing. It's easy. Just follow the settlement, unsettled trades. That's it. I changed my profile on Twitter to the whistleblower. Please call up. Get some money. Knock yourself out. They pay out $1 billion. I don't know to who, but they say they pay out. So make the calls. It takes a second. Call up. Report the crime. Say whatever you like. Pick a stock. I could care less. Get paid. Why not?
Do you think if Finger runs in a squeeze, do you think that could be the catalyst for a market crash?
We're a small portion of the universe here,
Yeah.
I think it'll definitely make the short sellers nervous, the crooks and the other names, because they'll know that someone just got slaughtered. How do you
see Finger trading over the next day, today and the next 7 option days?
I think it's going to be a slow grind up. I think it's going to pop to 6.5, and then you're going to get a pop to 10 to 12. And if that crushes the short, then you'll be up to 30 to going to the moon.
Wait a minute,
I don't think you're going to get any interference. And you'll say, why did he? Before I thought we would. But looking at the put options, that tells me that no one's paying attention to this stock but the criminals, just Lynn Partners. There's no one else here.
Well, I think it's brilliant what you just said. I've written it down. I'm holding you to it.
What was that?
Your prediction.
I think today we could see 6.5. Listen, I give you my opinion. I told all my friends use levels. Yesterday I was speaking to friends and I told them don't pay more than 6. Where'd we go to 6, right? Today I had calls with, 12, 15 people. I told them use the 6.5 top. Don't pay any more than 6.5. Each day is different. So if they're giving it to you 570, that's better than 6.5, right?
Right.
So that's the way you do it. You buy the dips. You buy half. Maybe you bought half at 598. You can buy the other half now, and you get a 575 average. All right, thank you. That's why you buy it the way I told you to do it. These guys continue to manipulate. As soon as you're done buying, they sell 100 shares, move it down. They offer 300 shares like they're doing now. And it's just the same nonsense. It's tough to watch all day long.
If Finger runs, do you think the whales in Finger will buy GTII?
Yes. That's an easy one. I said it. For that person who asked that question,
it gets asked over and over and over again. Asked and answered.
Write it down in your hand. Here's the playbook. I'm being honest with you. Here's the playbook. Finger motion, jump to the front. So that's just the way it goes. When finger motion goes, my friends, I don't really give a damn what you want to do. My friends are going back because we know there's 450 million shares short in that name. All right? And we know that we can pop that thing to a nice price. So there's nothing. It's right there. It's all proven. It's right there. The DTC told us, the SEC, the FNGR, it's all right there. So it's just a matter of, waking Godzilla up and let him go and ripping his heart out there. That's it. You can see the manipulation of Finger just looking at it. It was 500 shares offered once at 565. They offer now 300 at 563. And the continued movement or in the lower market all the time. If you're offering at 565, what's the rush? You got 300 stupid shares. Who cares? They're trying to make it look like the stock is for sale. That's all they're trying to do.
Why doesn't the DOJ get involved?
I said, yeah, they just dropped it all the way down. They just put up a big print. I didn't see the time it sales. If anyone can report back to me on what they just printed at 556, because I think that was a big wash. Maybe 20,000 shares, I couldn't tell. If anyone knows.
I can't read it. I can't read the volume.
I'm just asking someone right now. Give me a second.
You got all the time in the world. Someone says 11,900 share block at 557.
Yeah, there you go. There's your wash trade. There you go. That's the wash trade.
At 12.33.
At 557. So
Right.
Here's how you know it's a wash trade. You bid for 11,000, and what did they sell you? Exactly 11,000, because the market coming out is 556 to 559. So whoever sold it at 557 had exactly the same amount as the bid.
Happens all the time.
Right. Listen. Oh, you want to buy 11,000? Oh, let me look. I have 11,000, and let's do it exactly at the same time. We'll make each other happy.
You sound
That,
like
my
a
friends,
conspiracy theorist.
That, my friends, is a washed criminal trade right there. There you go. And that's how you know. They're so stupid, they do the same thing every day. At least change it up. Sell 12,000 and bid for 11. At least there's always 1,000 left. They don't even do that. They're so lazy.
Wow.
That's how you can tell when it's fraud. And they're just trying to do it to get you to panic. That's all it is. It's nothing else. Remember, Benchmark said the company's worth 5+, and here we are. What's the rush?
Michael Dion said as soon as it goes over 5, the benchmark buy recommendation turns to a sell recommendation. So don't you forget that. That was on Seeking Alpha, the idiot.
Oh, yeah, right. The curse of sell. Yeah. So when a company like NVIDIA goes over the first price target someone had, whatever the firm was said to sell it. Oh, because business is getting better, so let's sell it because it hit our target. That's completely false.
Yeah.
9 out of 10 times the targets are raised. And just so people understand it, firms can only put a target out there that is reasonable. Like Benchmark is there, this thing is worth 50, but at the time the stock was $2. We can't say it's going to 50 when the stock is at 2.
Right.
So when it gets to 5, they'll raise their target to 12.
Right.
When it gets to 12, they'll raise their target to 19. That's how they do it.
Right.
That's how they have to do it. It's a certain percentage. So here they are. They took out they did the wash trade. That didn't work. Now buyers step back in, and it goes the other way. The whole thing is stupid. Accumulation, buy half, bid for half.
Now I see why your mother asked you, what'd you do for a living? This is boring.
Yeah, that's not when I was learning it. I had my people on the trading desk were beating me in the knuckles every day with a stick until I got it right.
Well, it was different
you
back
guys don't
then.
understand. Listen, no one on this phone understands what it's work, how hard it is to work on a high-powered trading desk where there's real big orders coming through. You have to keep track of all the orders. For example, I could have 6 different orders from 6 different funds, all 500,000 to 5 million shares to buy. I have to keep track of all the trading, mark it down, everything we're buying, how many I have left, get an average price, and give it back to them in seconds because they want to know where they stand. And if you make a mistake, it's on you. So it's very difficult to do, and you got to be quick.
And they can
And
take
God
their
forbid you got
business.
something wrong, forget it. Everybody scream at you. Besides the customer, my boss, the trader, everybody. It's not easy.
Yeah. And they
You
can
know,
take their business anywhere. So
They can take their business anywhere, so you have to be quick and get it done as fast as you can. That's the game. And they paid, if you did that properly, you got, people on this phone call, probably most of the people don't realize that funds had to pay a lot of commission for us to exercise their orders, they execute their orders, excuse me. And I used to get paid 6 cents a share. So, think about just do the math, 500,000 shares times 6 cents. So you got paid a lot of money to make sure you get these things done right and fast. And if you didn't, that price that you would get paid would dwindle down. Today, I think it's less than a penny a share. So the brokerage industry is taking a beating. So, who would want to own, for example, what is exactly, change the two, who the hell in their right mind is buying Jeffries? They have no brokers anymore that are worthwhile. No one does that. Everybody's doing everything electronic. Their investment banking can't possibly be better than Goldman Sachs, which is being sold off every day. All right? So what is the purpose of Jeffries going up? It baffles me because I can't imagine what they're doing. But we'll find out soon. Like I said, finger goes, Jeffries is my top short target. Only when it goes. So I watch that every day. Payback's a bitch. I can't wait to torture Jeffries.
this one guy's asking you, how did you make $5,000 a week in 1990? I know.
1975, 1980.
Yeah, $5,000 a week.
And I spent it all. And I had to borrow $200 every Sunday from my dad to go to work because I was broke already. I spent it hanging out in Studio 54, Xenons, Magique, Club A, you name it, I did it. If you're old enough, you'll know what I'm talking about. And to get in those places, just so you understand, to get in Studio 54, I had to pay the guy $500 at the door, and then $50 a person once we got in the door. So it cost me $800 just to walk in.
Hope it was worth it.
I'm still here. Yes. I would never give that up, those life experiences that I had.
Did you see Bianca Jagger on a white horse?
No, I heard about it. I hung out with Rick James and Linda Blair one night. That was pretty interesting.
Rick James, wow.
And he dated the girl from The Exorcist, Linda Blair.
If
like
you
I said, that was
if
interesting.
you had the choice between living in a basement and owning a Ferrari, or owning a Honda and owning your own condominium, which choice would
Back
you
in the
make?
basement. Back in the basement.
Busy Brands is saying living in the basement and had a Ferrari. That's what Busy Brands is saying.
That's what I did. I had a Ferrari, lived in my parents' basement. I had a waterbed. That's how cool I was. And a neon light. That was it. And a TV. That was it.
And someone's saying cocaine is a mean drug. I don't think you did drugs.
No, I never did, but that's from Rick James and David Chappelle's show. I know that.
So that shows what.
It's a hell of a drug.
Yeah, I don't know.
But again, I grew up. My parents, didn't have a lot of money, but I got into the fast lane quick, and I knew how to navigate it. And
here's one of your listeners, going by the moniker Ocean Sailing. She used to work at Scores.
One day I'd like to talk to her about that because I tried to buy Scores one time.
He was trying to buy your place of employ.
I was there many nights. It was a great restaurant.
Here's one guy has a parakeet that says Gators suck.
There you go. You drag me right back into college
Or
football.
a parrot. Maybe it's a parrot.
Ford knows him from LSU. We haven't heard. He's disappeared. No, he's a good guy. But again, people, this is just smoke and mirrors. You know the whole game. They're short. I just rounded it up for anyone who wants to know. I'm stopping at 170. There's no sense to even add another share to it. It's a mess already at 170, 160, 150, 140. Pick whatever number you like. All right? This thing, when the fuse lights, you're going to see something that I believe, that can change your life. It's not easy to get in early, which we are. It's not easy to watch your stock run and decide when you're going to sell. It's not easy. That's why I try to tell you, when it starts to go, make small sales. Every day you make money. Doesn't have to be all of it. You sell a little bit. Your money's off the table. That means you have no risk. The world can end, but you got your original investment off and some. You're in great shape. That's how you have to look at it. Any other questions?
No, there really aren't. I just want to see what the volume is. I'm having a hard time.
Well,
seeing.
listen, my friends used to work at EF Hutton. You know, these
401.
guys are old time. These guys are old timers. I'm talking real old. EF Hutton had some great brokers there, but he keeps telling me that this stock, he's a chartist. He does all kinds of work on volume and everything you want, all that technical nonsense. And he's telling me that this thing is ready to go at any time now. And I respect guys from EF Hutton. Not spitballing your kid at Peabody. I don't like those guys. But EF Hutton was a place that we all...
When EF Hutton talks.
Everyone listens.
Yeah. I remember
So
that.
that's how I feel about him. Even though I thought he was overpriced, though he made too much money for doing little work, but he's a good guy.
So we've had 100,000 shares of so-called volume while we've been on the call.
Listen, there's been, and we pointed out that 20 of it was fake. You know, the wash trade of 11,000 back and forth. Just look at the market and the stock. They print the share at the bid side to make it down another penny, and then all of a sudden 300. If you're short 170 million shares, what's the big deal if you sell another 500? Does it really make a difference? No. So that's what you're saying. But the gateway for these guys to sell millions more shares, that door is being closed, or it's close to being closed, or the DOJ is knocking on the door of a prime broker. Someone's asking questions somewhere. Something has changed. Now, they're not going to listen. Just think about this. It's super. This is a morbid reference, but it's tough to kill yourself. So Lynn Partners could be sitting here thinking that, okay, if we start buying it in, we're dead and going to jail. So why don't we just keep trying until they come with the hook and pull us off the stage and lock us up? Those are their choices right now. So either he's going to pull the trigger, jump out of a window, blow his brains out, and jump in front of a train, or he's going to sit here trying to do the best he can to wiggle out of this thing. That's what the Kramers have done in GTII. The Kramers are hoping that everyone's going to look the other way and we're going to forget about him, Charlie Mayo, the Kramers, Timothy Sykes, that they think we're going away. We're not going away. It's just, something else has popped up. Let's make money here, and then we go back and torture them. But they think everybody went away. That's another live wire ready to go. It's just a matter of when we're going to tickle it. That's it. Is that all right? Everybody okay?
Let me see. I think Ace have been asking him about watching volume. How can we observe the volume being bought as Finger or GTI is moving up? Well, you'll see it. You'll see the volume.
Listen, he keeps asking about the volume. It's that stupid hat he wears on his head. It's got him dizzy. Get a bigger hat on your head. All right, here's today. The volume's 402,000. Who knows how many shares are fake out of this trading? I guarantee it's about 90 or 100,000. So we're down to 300,000. What does that volume mean? 400. That means nothing. Nothing. I watched Harry HKD go up to 2,500, and it was trading nothing. It was going up by, just blowing in the wind. It was going up $100 at a clip. So what's the volume mean? Nothing. You don't know. All right? When you want to sell it, I told you, always make sales all the ways up. Protect yourself, protect your family. You're never going to ring the top on, if you bought 100,000 shares at 560 and you think you're going to sell it at 700 and the high is 701 and you're going to ring the bell at the top. Good luck with that. All right? Make sales all the time. Instead of selling it, I'll make an example. Let's say the stock goes to a high of 1,000. I would be thrilled that I have an average price sales of $680 on all my shares. Taking the high, taking the low, and then you're just thrilled about it. Say, hey, you know what? I didn't sell all my shares at 1,000, but I sold 900 shares at 985, 15 points from the top. That's how you got to look at this when it goes. That's how you have to, everyone needs to understand that's how you have to trade. Sell. I don't care if you have 100 shares, you sell 50 on the way up. You get your money off the table, you got 50 shares, you sell 25, up another percentage point, up another 50% or 100%, and you got 25 shares for free. And that's the way you trade. Unless you go into a coma, and you come out of the coma and they say, hey, the stock's 1,000. Hurry up, sell it. Boom, and then it collapses. Well, good luck if you get that one. All right, but again, just look at the things. There's no selling in the stock Ace. There's no volume on the put side. There's 18 or 16 puts of the, whatever that strike is, what is it? The 5.5 traded, that's 55 cents, 58 cents. Nothing. There's not one other put. One of the November 4th traded. One at 55 cents. One. So all the activity is on the call side. I spoke to a guy yesterday, bought 15,000 shares, and he wanted to hedge it, and he sold, I think he sold the $10 calls at 30 cents. I says, okay, you lock yourself in. The most you can make is $3 or whatever it was. So good luck. If that's what you want to do, that's what you do. But that doesn't cover if the stock goes down. So doing that, buying the stock and selling those calls, he's only sold them for 30-cent protection. So if he paid $5.50 for the stock, that means he's down protected to $5.20. Take away 30 cents. If the stock goes to 4, he's a loser. So it doesn't afford. You're limiting your upside. And yet you still have downside, so that doesn't make any sense to do that. But that's what he did, because someone told him to do it. So look, I can't help you with that. If you have a question about it, ask about it before you do something crazy.
Well,
all right. Anything else?
Not really. I mean, the people is throwing out other names and everything, so but that's not why we're here.
Listen, I'm really not following other names. I told you I think the market's going to bust. There's too much craziness going on in the world between the retailers getting robbed every day, this going on, the price of precious metals going up, there's fraud everywhere. How could any market withstand this? If the government wasn't in here protecting it, it would be wiped out already. These stocks, they kept buying Caterpillar and UNH, and now they start to reverse down, Costco, Caterpillar, all these names that took us up. Costco came back already. It was down to 540. These things come back, that's the government bringing them back. And the video is down 17, it's down 18 now. I told you, they use these big names that are up for the year. They use it as a source of funds. They sell their winners to cover their losses. So when the market crashes, look for the big cap names that you guys all own, that you have profits in them. That's where they're going to come and sell. That's what they're trying to do. There's another 10,000 or whatever, 5,000. They just printed at 556. So now they're buying the stock and the cross, then they turn around and they sell it again. Remember that. And when they wash it, someone sells it, someone buys it. It's the same people. The guy who buys it turns around, then he sells the 11,000 he just bought at 557, and he starts working out of it. And now this trade begins a new life. They can just keep going back and forth. That's what they're doing.
And the shorts aren't hoping for a crash here. That actually works against them, a crash.
It works against them. It works against them.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's just, hey, you make your determination. If you're interested in this thing, I'm telling you, the time to start doing it is when they're playing these games back and forth. They're trying to jam up the volume so that people look at it and say, "Oh my God, it's gone from," or Ace or somebody who's concerned about the volume will sit there and say, "Oh my God, the volume's gone up to 1 million shares again," with 80% of it's fake. So why would I count on volume? Okay, to be, you can tell yesterday was a lot of buying in the stock. That was real volume.
Right.
Today there's no selling, and all of a sudden you see these strange prints going on. That tells you that it's all fake, because there was no selling. They're creating the selling themselves. That's what they're doing. I hope you understand that. Did I say that easy enough?
Yep.
There's no selling, so they create their own selling. That's all they're doing.
It's legal in
Legal manipulation 101. I wish you could do it. If anyone on this phone tries to go and buy stock with 3 seconds or 1 second left in the day, just trying to mark it up, your brokerage firm will shut down your account and restrict you, because they're saying you're manipulating the stock.
That's right.
That's right. I can't tell you how many people that's happened to. If the market's open till 4, what's the big deal when you buy it, right?
Or sell it.
All right, we'll sell it.
If it's real. But anyway,
the brokerage firms shut your account down if you try to do it with 1-2 seconds to go, and you say, "Hey, let me buy 100 shares at the market," and you mark the stock up. Oh my goodness, they'll shut you. They block your account.
Huh.
Meanwhile, we have to watch the criminals do this all day long, watching trades, marking it down. You see them near the close when they try to mark it down.
Yeah.
So the stock just popped up to 560 a few seconds ago. They took to 60, and all of a sudden now the bids disappear and they start marking it down again. So these are just them playing back and forth. In the middle, there's some buying. Don't get me wrong. There's people picking at it. But you can tell when there's a buyer because they all move out of the way again. But remember, who wants less for their stock sale? Only a criminal. Lynn Partners, the Kramers, Alpine, Yorkville, they all do the same thing. And the SEC allows it. Don't ask me why.
Right.
All right, there's nothing else to say.
Yeah, there's just really nothing else. I mean,
accumulation. That's how you win.
well,
All right, I'll go
it sounds
jump in the
like
pool.
we might win in the short run here, at least a little bit.
I think it's going to go. I think it's imminent that it's going to go. That's all. That's my opinion. These are all signs. There's no put activity. There's no selling. Where they're going to go, it's just a matter of time for it turns and it pops.
Right.
Just remember this. There's always a moment of doubt in all your stock trades and in life and everything. It's happened to me 1,000 times where I thought I had great information. Nothing happened. I've been waiting, whatever it was, and it didn't happen. And, you start thinking to yourself, I got 100,000 shares. Let me get down to 50. I get down to 50, then boom, the thing just takes off, and I'm like kicking myself in the ass. Like, how did I talk myself into doing that? It happens all the time.
Oh, yeah.
It's that moment of doubt just gets you. That's what happens.
And we'll all wish we owned more if it goes up soon.
Oh, that's what happens. We're all going to say, "Oh my God, what was I doing? I should have bought more." Those idiots on the phone said it was life-changing, Why didn't you tell me? I only told you every day, twice a day. What can I say?
So it's a punch in the face, life-changing.
That's what I think. I really do believe this is a life-changing event for holders of this stock. And then when GTI starts to go, I think that's,
It sounds like you think
definitely-
Finger's going to go soon, and
I think Finger's going to go soon.
GTII is next. It's a beneficiary of
so
that
what's
money.
the race? So what's the race to sell it? We're all long it. What's the race? No one every day there's there's 17,000 at 64.50. That is the short seller. 64.50.
They're just providing a cleansing action to the market.
That's it. They just want to make sure that when you go to buy it, you can't miss them. They want that money. They want your money to go directly to them, not to anyone else. That's what they want.
It's just liquidity, just providing liquidity.
Right, liquidity. That's what the game is. All right, everybody, have a great day. I'm going to go jump in the pool and enjoy the sun.
All right, Ham. Thank you
All
very
right,
much.
see you later. Thank you.
All right, bye. Guys, you're welcome to do other trades, but he's not going to want to talk about them. You're more than welcome to do them. There's no diamond hands here. It's but if you want to dilute your efforts and spread them out, that makes sense. I can't argue against it. But if you're understanding the body language of that call, maybe I'm wrong. I mean, I've been wrong before, but it sounds like the movement in Finger is imminent. Could be wrong. We were wrong last month, but this isn't about being correct in any one stock. It's about making money. Anyway, I'm just explaining to you, he's not going to want to answer any other stock questions right now. I don't think that's where his mind is. Once this works, which could be soon, I'm sure now we're at 555 on Finger, down 30 cents, 425,000. If the SEC's watching, it's terrific. You're allowing in slow motion the sale. There's 425. I bet 400,000 shares today are all fake. But hey, it's your marketplace. We just have to deal with it. You choose which regulations you enforce, and and what interests you. You worry that stocks go up, that's been a manipulation. On the way down, you couldn't care less. And all I can say to the SEC is shame on you. Shame on you. Anyway, 555 down 30 cents, 551 to 555. Let's see if there's any, on the off chance that there is. No, nothing happening. So kind of boring. 551 to 555. I can answer a couple of those other questions. Logic is really cheap. Really cheap. Well, I wish Finger would go so I can buy more Logic, frankly. But I don't know if we're going to get that chance. MULN down 46 cents. GNS 108. Aubrey SPAC 1087, holding up. Holding up. What Warren Buffett said about essentially concentrating on one or two stocks and maybe a handful of stocks, I think is right. When I we were trained on Wall Street. It was all about diversification. And the guy that I remember it as Investors Business Daily, but it might have been a different person I was listening to at the time, a guru. But anyway, it stuck in my head that you're not going to get rich through diversification. If you have 5% of your account in Finger and 95% spread across a bunch of dogs, you're probably not going to lose money. Probably just going to come out even. So concentration makes a lot of sense, and it's about making money. It's about trying to make money. What was the other question? How much money is Lynn Partners managing? I looked it up. It's and when you say managing, those guys couldn't manage. They couldn't manage. They couldn't manage the singer down at the local Irish pub. I'd say it's around $150 million. That's what the filing showed. But it's spread across several LLCs, and I'm not sure it's accurate. Boasts the word manage. I don't think they manage, and it's just a reflection maybe of the shares they gained when they quote-unquote syndicated these toxic convertible notes. When is the crash? I forgot to ask Cam that, but I thought he was going to say it when he started answering. Look, the most likely time for the crash is October, because that's when it happens every year, typically. The reason for that is these guys that all went to the same schools and all manage the same money and all have to meet with the same clients, all have to explain they're in the same stocks, they're in the same industries, they're all such geniuses. They get paid bonuses. 20% of the profit is a fairly typical hedge fund arrangement. Sometimes it's less, sometimes it's more. So they have to jump the gun on their buddies and get out early if the market looks weak. Also, I think perhaps there's some relationship to the U.S. Fiscal year, but that might just be a tenuous connection. So anyway, a lot of the crashes have happened in October. I read about it. I listen to different blogs, and there are people I really trust warning that the markets are in trouble. And the particular space you have to watch is the bond market, the international bond market, BOND. Interest rates are going up. There's a lot of corporate debt coming due that was financed at very low rates that needs to be refinanced at higher rates. If the bond market gives up the ghost, it's all over. But having said all that, in the back of my mind, because everyone's calling for a crash, everyone except maybe Goldman Sachs, when everyone is thinking the same thing, the market tries to fool as many people as possible. And I don't know. I'm either I'm completely wrong and the consensus is going to be correct, or the crash isn't going to happen soon. It'll happen, maybe in January instead of in October. Or it's not happening yet. And we're going to have a rally in the markets fueled by the Fed as they try to make sure that the election landscape is favorable to this excellent administration that we currently have. Do you think it could change and GTII could run before Finger? No, I don't. For the next 8 days, and then if nothing happens by the gamma squeeze potentially next Friday, so basically this week and a half, I think Finger could run. And I don't think GTII is going to run in that time frame. Anything's possible. News could come out of left field to make it run, but I think it's Finger. And if Finger doesn't, quote unquote, squeeze by next Friday, the most likely time frame for it to squeeze is over the next 30 days. And I don't see GTII running before Finger does all that. Could they run together? That's my contention. They'll probably run together. As much as we would like to take profits from Finger if they happen, put it into GTII, the odds are GTII's price will be higher. Ham talks stuff up and then we never hear about it. Makes you think twice. Well, you can think twice, but it'll be all right. Whatever. What does it make you think twice about? Think twice about Ham? Think twice about the stuff Ham talks up? Look, if you don't like Ham's recommendations, don't listen to him. Just go do something else. There's AMC, there's GME, there's MULN, there's several stocks like COSM, CLNV, and now there's a new one. There's plenty out there for you to go find without having to makes you think twice. Let me be clear to you. Ham doesn't talk up any companies other than GTII and Finger. And it's always been that case. He has talked about Wolf. Wolf went up. He's talked about 2 or 3 other stocks at questions like Kodak. And he's mentioned what Wall Street, what he's hearing people are buying. But he's always been made it very clear. There's only 2 stocks he's following. GTII and Finger. So if you want to make it up that Ham is pumping up stuff and then he never talks about it and it makes you think twice, well, go ahead and think twice. It's all right. But go do it when you represent information factually. Ham is somebody that has a lot of contacts on Wall Street, hears a lot of stories, talks about it. If you don't want to hear it, don't listen. If you're such a great trader, trade what he says or not, but you don't need to have your hand held. But Ham has been following the massive naked short position in GTII. You heard him today say it's 450 million shares, naked, non-existent, counterfeit. And you heard him today, 170 million shares counterfeited in Finger. If you want more than that, TAC, I would go. There's plenty of advisors out there. One gentleman that toots his own horn and apparently does extremely well is Timothy Yikes. But you'll make, if you follow him, you make $300-400 a trade. and he'll brag about that. You can go on the space calls, and you can listen to stories that should sate your interest, and you won't need to think twice about what Ham says. Oh my gosh, better think twice. I hope people are thinking twice. I hope people think it through over and over again. This isn't Diamond Hands. This isn't Pump and Dump. This isn't Pump. This is simply noticing that Gary Gensler allows the counterfeiting of shares in the U.S. markets to the tune of trillions of dollars a year. Trillions of dollars. Trillions of dollars. And there's no taxes paid. And when people talk about it, people like you come out, makes you think twice. He mentioned a stock 3 weeks ago and he never mentioned it again. Makes you think twice. You must be one of the most intelligent people that ever graced the halls of your high school, college, and graduate school. He brought something up and he never mentioned it again. Makes you think twice. Maybe he answered a question and forgot about it. Yeah, makes you think twice. Maybe he was paid to bring it up one time, suck people in, and then he never mentioned it again. Yeah, makes you think twice. Maybe he's pushing people into FNGR and GTII, but then he's distracting them by bringing up other stories and then never talking about them again. Makes you think twice. Really makes you think twice. Yeah, Ham brings things up and then he never talks about them again. That really makes me think twice. The premise is false anyway. Anything Ham talks about, he talks about every single day, and I don't hear him change his tune ever. I can tell you all the things Ham says. It's all fraud. It's the same pattern. Don't stand there like a statue. If it goes up, take your money off the table. I don't know how they're still standing. The Lynn Partners, the Kramers. Oh, I don't follow other stocks. I just follow because I can count it in FNGR and GTII. But I came out on AMC and I was early and I predicted it, or GME. But man, it does get me thinking twice. You know what, Tack? Because of your question, I'm going to think twice. I think I'm going to think twice before I have Ham on here again because, man, you're right. That gets me thinking twice. Gosh, I'm grateful to you, Tack. If you hadn't pointed out that Ham pushes stocks, pushes ideas, and then never mentions them, I doubt I ever would have thought twice. God, I'm grateful. You got me thinking twice. Yeah, Ham makes me think a lot. Well, all right, you guys. Well, trillions of dollars. I get, just so you know where I got that Korean Yoon, there's a piece, it's in Spaces and it's on the internet, and on the picture of it is a toad. It's one part of about 5 parts. And I just don't have it right in front of me, but I can show it to you next time. But on page 3 of it, they have a display of one financial institution reporting $27 trillion worth of failed trades, of failed to locate in Europe. 27 trillion, just one institution. I'll try to find it for you so I can give you that background. 27 trillion, 2022, one institution. 27 trillion. And then you have people coming on defending this activity. Why would they defend it? Why? Just for money? Anyway, 560 to 563, 8,700 by 400. All right, MKC, see you later. I'm going to go... I'm going to go in at 1:30 because I don't know if this has been effective date. I'm short on finger, short on cash to buy more. Oh, don't use that word when you talk about your kids. They're blessings, and they're a good investment. You're lucky you have kids. LGIQ is the ticker. LGIQ. LGIQ. I'll show it to you. The logic. LGIQ. 92,000 shares trading at 24.5 cents. Some point this week or next, and I'm leaning now to next week, unfortunately. You pay, I can't believe it, but you pay 24.5 cents for logic right now, 24.5 cents. Next week, they're going to approve, there should be no reason why they don't, the merger of Data Logic, which is the engine of logic, into Aubrey SPAC, which is trading at almost $11 at $10 a share. It's a prefix. So you're going to get, the name is weird. I'm sure they have a reason. And I'm not sure I spelled it correctly. And I believe it's NASDAQ. The deal works out to about $1.15 a share at $10 a share. But the stock ASPA is trading at 11 almost. So it's about 9-10% higher. So you're going to get for your share at 24 cents, you're going to get one share of collective, or however they do the ratio, you're going to get the value per share of collective audience for $1.25. And then the logic shell turn down a deal or let it expire, a reverse merger deal expire for between 40 and 60 cents a share. So I'm going to use, why would they turn it down unless they have a better deal? On a per share basis. So you're going to get, for 25 cents, you're going to get a value per share of $1.25 plus a value, call it 50 cents, take the low end. So you're going to get $1.75 in value, and it's going to be announced next week, probably. Remember, I said it would be announced 2 weeks ago, but, you know, there was vacation and all that. So that's logic. That's logic. And it's just cheap as it can be. But your instinct is, oh my gosh, the stock is down. It's terrible. Instead of, I'm going to act. I'm going to go grab some. They got 8,000 for sale because they think the shell is going to go down to 5 cents. Well, I hope it's still here if finger goes up, because I'm going to buy some logic. What do I think the actual short is in logic? It's not, I'm not saying it's a short squeeze. I think it's been shorted. I got a legal letter from a lawyer for Ionic Ventures that specifically stated Ionic Ventures has not shorted logic and does not short any stocks. It wasn't clear whether that's daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, but hey, it's from a lawyer. It's got to be true. I'm not saying to you that logic is a short squeeze play on the size of a finger. On the other hand, I would guess that they have shorted a few million shares. I just don't know the exact number, but they've been shorting logic for the last few months. And it is possible that you will get a reflexive short covering rally in the stock once it's clear, in my opinion, that there will be a reverse merger candidate into the logic shell. If there is such a rally, you know, where does it go? $3, $4, $5, $10? It could. But I'm not pitching it to you as a short squeeze play. It could happen. I just gave you the reasons why it makes sense. You're buying logic. You're buying logic right now. A year ago, they agreed to distribute data logic into Aubrey SPAC. Aubrey SPAC will acquire data logic, which is all of the earnings of logic, the revenue, the AI, the platform. Aubrey SPAC, NASDAQ traded company, will acquire data logic, and it hasn't been approved by the SEC yet. They've answered 64 to 70 comments from the SEC. Logic finished answering their questions 2 or 3 weeks ago, so they expected approval from the SEC. Turns out that Aubrey SPAC still had a couple of cleanup comments to answer, so it's been delayed to next week. Data logic is going into Aubrey SPAC at a valuation of $114 million. Works out $10 a share value. works out to about $1.15 at that price to your interest per share. But Aubrey SPAC currently is trading at $11. SPACs have gone as high as $20, $30, $40, $50, $60 after these things are announced. Who knows? There will be other deals added into the mix shortly after this happens. That's been discussed on calls and in press releases. So it's possible that $1.15 could be worth $2 or $3 a share very quickly, just on the Aubrey SPAC side. But since Aubrey SPAC is trading just under $11, the arithmetic works out to approximately $1.25 a share in value. They're going to change the name to Collective Audience. This is going to have the artificial intelligence. This is going to have the platform that has allowed Logic to acquire talent, technologies, revenues, and income. They're going to call it Collective Audience. This value, once the SEC finally approves it, the value should come in at a minimum of $1.25 to your one share of Logic. That, I think the approval will come next week or sooner. I know I said this 2 weeks ago, but hey, I can't control it. Once Logic gives away data logic to Aubrey SPAC, the shorts are saying, well, Logic doesn't have anything. It's just a shell. We'll drive it down. We'll just sell it off because we can buy it back at 5 cents, 10 cents. In so many calls, in announcements, Logic announced last year now that they were going to roll into the shell. After they announced the SPAC, they were going to roll in a private company worth 40, 50, 60 cents a share to you, to your interests. They let that expire. Do you think they let it expire because they have a worse opportunity? I doubt that. So if you assume 40, 50, 60 cents a share is your minimum of the new reverse merger candidate, whoever it is, you can pick 50, 60 cents, it might be higher, to add to the $1.25. If you pick the 50 cents, it's $1.75 in value that you're paying 25 cents for right now. And approval's a week away. Effectiveness is probably the end of September. But hey, that's a long time. I know that's a long time to wait. All right, that's Logic. It's 1:31. All right, thinking back to Ham's call, he said he was telling his friends not to pay more than $6.50 today. No, what Ham is saying, and they didn't follow his advice, by the way, but Ham is saying is go ahead and bid for stock up to $6.50 a share. And if you get filled, great. If you don't, bid for the rest lower. It hasn't made the stock go up. I don't see any evidence that his friends are in there in size. On the other hand, I don't know, maybe they're 200,000 of the 466,000 today. But there doesn't seem to be any stampede to buy this stock this morning. There does seem to be strength on the bid such that the Lind Partners and their 4 syndicate partners have been unable to drive the stock down. 5 under 5. I think if it goes under 5, you won't buy it, but it's a good sentiment. Human psychology is weird. If the stock were to go under 5, you'd be scared to buy it. I think Finger is as cheap as you're ever going to see it right now at 568. But people don't buy because it's down. Oh, geez. Oh, it looks horrible. Why is it down? They said it was going to go up. I think this is as cheap as you'll ever see it again. I haven't heard back from the CEO of HNRC. Look, if you bought it, you got the WHDI dividend for $3.50, 2 for 1, so it was $1.75. That was the point of that trade. If you follow HNRC at all, I mean, it's not harder than reading a press release, reading it. The value of the stock is somewhere self-reported value. So you can say, oh, it's got to be a lie. Remember, the shorts are out here because they're doing the Lord's work, and they're cleansing the market of all of its froth and hype that CEOs give. So you got to be thankful for Gary Gensler's SEC allowing the continued destruction of stock prices because it's in your best interest. But if, on the other hand, you think CEOs can be honest, and I think the CEO of HNRC is honest, stock's worth over $3 a share. But hey, it's not in the stock price, so got to be wrong. I'm not going to act. I'm going to wait till it goes lower. I'll buy it when it's lower. Finger, stock's down. I'm not going to buy it here. I'll wait till it goes lower. Well, that's how life is. Is 527 still a thing? Yes. According to Tom Ronk, that number is still a thing. Whatever that stupid English language means. Must have been on a comedy show. Still a thing. Yes, it is. But does that mean that's a margin call? Does that mean that those are buy-ins? What if the margin call is met by putting up more collateral? What if it's met by putting up more cash? We can't know that. The 527 being a thing was to turn the computers from sellers to buyers. What if they just adjusted the computers because the Jeffries or whoever the prime broker is satisfied that their risk level that they're asking for, whether it's more collateral, more cash, is okay right now? We don't know that. But yes, it's still a thing. While they're waiting for the squeeze, I make 50 grand over 3 months. Is the 527 still a thing? Not in fraud, in my opinion. Yes, this fraud is endless, and it's sanctioned by the SEC. But it costs money. Finger has gone from $1 to as high as $7.40, and they've continued to sell millions, tens of millions of shares which do not exist. It costs money. The prime brokers are not doing it for free. More than that, the prime brokers are not going to put their franchise at risk without asking for collateral. It's not going to go on forever. It just cannot. But today, I congratulate them. The stock is down 20 cents, 500,000 shares. Most of us on the call are saying, well, it's down. I'll buy it when it goes lower. We're not buying it here. Most of the big whales perhaps are following that same stratagem. In my judgment, you're not going to see the price lower for Finger, but I could be wrong. Any news on Anna's closed door meeting? No, I spoke to Anna last night at length, and she encourages everybody to keep calling in to Congress, writing letters on MMTLP. Her fervent wish, her fervent desire is that Congress causes the SEC or FINRA to release not the blue sheets, but the aggregate total that the blue sheets represent. Because it is sensible to consider that FINRA would be reluctant to release the blue sheets, and I'm making it up, if it put Wells Fargo or Fidelity under the shotgun of short sellers themselves, because they might be the ones exposed. I made those two companies up. I have no idea. But if you take the aggregate numbers, you don't put that kind of risk. There's 105 broker-dealers involved. No one knows who it is. But you can have clarity to the journalists, to the people at Seeking Alpha, to the people at the SEC, who were all of 12 years old, and then Gary Gensler is distracted by his dreams of moving higher up in the Democratic Party or at Goldman Sachs. It'll make it clear to them that, well, in fact, there's 500 million, 1 billion, 2 billion shares in our accounts that are fraudulent. And how did that happen? Was it caveat emptor? Was it greed on our parts? Or was it outright fraud that is sanctioned and allowed by Gary Gensler? How do you know Lynn Partners is running out of money and can't push Finger lower? I don't think it's Finger. I don't think it's Lynn Partners. I think Lynn Partners is just a front for shorts, and Lynn Partners does the smiling and the lying and the cajoling. And once they get a CEO to sign a toxic convertible note, it's past. They just, as Jeff Easton said, we syndicated the Finger deal to 4 players, and one of them might be short selling. That's a third-hand quote from Jeff Easton. I didn't hear it firsthand. I heard it third-hand, but I trust my source. How do we know? Ham follows it every single day. There are people out there that say that Tom Ronk's information is all wet, that it doesn't take into account short covering. Well, if you watch a stock all day long for 3 to 5 years, you know that there's one party that created the naked short position, and now we know there's 4 hedge funds. They're not hedge funds. They're just criminals that they syndicated it to, quote unquote syndicated it. These are all words to make it sound like it's legit. It's a crime what they're doing. It's 170 million shares they've sold, up from $1. And the squeeze price that Tom Ronk has is $5.28. It's over $5.28. It costs money every time they sell. It costs money to do the trades through a prime broker. It costs money to hold the position without delivery Yes, they're in trouble. All right, there you go. If the ask's near 5. So everybody on this call, they see that the shorts have counterfeited finger downward, and if it gets to $5, they're going to buy more. I'm going to make a bet with you. If the stock gets to $5, you're not buying anything because you'll be so nervous it's going to 4. So most of the buyers are saying, hey, it's down, it's going to go lower. So there's no real buyers out there right now. That could change on a dime. And when buyers come in and when the fake selling stops, this stock could be $8 or $9 or $10 like that. But anyway, why don't you wait till it goes to $5? Yeah, that's true. 550 and 575 seem to be a tough point, and also $6. It has a hard time getting through 6 on my stupid chart. I'm not even good at charting. But $6 is a huge number. I don't know why. I mean, there's one chart, but I haven't drawn on it. Here it is. That's $6. It's tough. That yellow line is $6. It's a tough one to break through. But I think the next time it breaks through, I think you're going to see 650, 7, 825, 10, and then I think you're going to see $90 a share. Hey, John. I think fingers, now's the time to buy finger. But, my track record of short-term projections hasn't always been perfect. Daniel Borders is saying on Twitter 500K more going into finger, but he has to wait for them to finish 4 more holes. Golfing? That's funny. I don't think Lind is the short. I think it's someone that they fronted for. They're just a front. But anyway. Look, even if Lind has all the money in the world to maintain this position, or their partners do, at $6, assuming things are normal, which they may not be normal, on 170 million shares, and it's not all in one account, that's at least $1 billion that's just sitting in the accounts at various prime brokers as a maintenance requirement. Odds are they've done all sorts of shenanigans and it's not that much, but that's at $6 a share. They're going to ask for more than that. They might ask for $10 a share. That's $1.7 billion. Now that's in the way it should be in total aggregate. But even if you take pieces of that, this puts a lot of pressure on the shorts. They can't carry this position. And it's a stupid position. What are they going to do? Drive it down to 3? They still can't cover at 3. My eyesight. US dollar pretty much every day made. I don't know much. Well, you're playing it correctly, Big Alabama. And that's the other thing. If it breaks out, that's a good time to buy. If it breaks out to the upside, because you don't have to wait. All right. I'll go to 2 o'clock if I can make it. Let me just see if there's anything rattling and rolling. There's nothing in finger. The trading is 564, 563, 566, 472,000. It's just not. Yeah, but $6, Big Al. I mean, you see where I drew the one thing I drew in color, and it's $6. I think it's a big number for them. This morning was, by reading it one way, that was the third test of 6. And if they pull it back and it goes to 6 the fourth time, that's usually a breakout. One way of looking at it. You also could look at it that it was the, 5th time. But I like the way I just described it, that that was the third test. It's pulling back right now. The next time is the 4th. And that's when you see it puncture. I think, look, I'm using very round numbers. But I think from 6, I think it goes to 650. I don't expect much problem at 650. Then it goes to 7. That could be a little bit, because there's some resistance there. But my view on this, there's nobody sitting out there trying to get back their money at $7. So I don't expect that to be much resistance either. After 7, you could go to 8.25, but same argument. I don't think it's much resistance. Excuse me. And then you could go to 9.7510. That's a little more of an argument that it would back and fill at that level. I don't see a lot of volume up there, but just psychologically, that would be a testing point. We'll find out how much. But then I don't see anything. Does it stall at $16, $17? Maybe. But I really, like I've told you many times, this could easily go to $90. It's 563.97. That's always, when the SEC's watching it, that's a kosher trade. 563.97. Yeah, that makes sense. We've got 562 to 565. Let's execute it at 563.97. Nothing to worry about. All right, 9 more minutes, I'll go. Yeah, I think they're sweating now, Craig. Oh, I see. Above $6 USD. Peter, you can't believe how blurry my vision is, and I don't know why. I can see it clearly, but if I look quickly, I can't. I don't know. It's hard to explain. Robert Armstrong, I hope that works. I believe it is going to work. And Ricky, I think that's a good trade. 567.63. 8 minutes to go. The longest 8 minutes in professional sports. Let's see if there's any news. No news. All right, the women's singles just ended on Arthur Ashe Stadium court. Sabalenka beat Zheng 6-1, 6-4. So that should set up Medvedev versus Rublev. And my guess is Medvedev is going to win that pretty hands down. All right, I might just quit in 1 minute because I don't see any questions. And I do want to watch the tennis. I do want to watch the tennis. I have Medvedev. I have Zverev beating Alcaraz. That's not going to happen. I think Alcaraz is going to beat Zverev. But I wrote this a while ago, so I'm not changing it right now. I actually had Sinner beating Alcaraz, but then Zverev beat Sinner, so now I have Zverev there. But I think Alcaraz is lucky he gets to play at night when it's cooler. Medvedev and Rublev are going to be hot. And then on Friday, Djokovic plays in the sun against Shelton, and that'll be great. I think that'll be great. I think Shelton is really dangerous, but I think Djokovic will prevail. No, I'm not betting on it. I'm just having fun with it. And I'm rooting for Djokovic. Hey, Skinny Whale, nice to see you. When you started in the market, was the fraud that... I have a difference of opinion with Ham on that. The answer is no, there wasn't this level of fraud. The worst it got, to my memory, is... because I traded a lot. I did a lot of volume. I was a top producer, President's Club and all that kind of crap. So I learned a lot. And there used to be 5-day settlement. You used to have physical shares actually in vaults up in New York. And there were times when you'd have to bike the shares across town for settlement. Oh, that doesn't happen anymore. Everything's electronic. But you got, when you entered a trade, and you were allowed to do it, you could sell stock that wasn't in the account as long as you promised to deliver it. Well, if on settlement, if it didn't come in, to my memory now, you got 2 days pretty much automatically. And then you'd get a lot of phone calls. Where's the stock? When's it coming? Oh, it should be here. It should be here by Friday. All right, that's all right. You could get, just to cut to the chase, you could get 21 days for delivery. This is back in the time frame you're talking about. And if the shares came in, it was fine. There was no demerits. There was no black mark on your account, on your, ability to trade. The fraud I knew about back then with Bear Stearns and a couple of other firms is that these big pools of money could get that 21 days, and then that with the help of a Bear Stearns, they could move the entire trade to another broker and start the clock again on 21 days. But it didn't happen everywhere, and that was more of the exception than the rule. But it did happen. Then the other difference was that the brokerage firms were different than the commercial banks, and there were trading desks, and there were compliance officers. And so if brokers or institutional brokers traded that way, immediately they had to answer to it that night, the next morning. But now that's all gone. That's all gone. The brokers moved the trading desks, I think, out to hedge funds. And then those hedge funds are linked to the broker's prime broker side. And so all the risk is at the hedge fund or the LLCs. There's no compliance officers. There's no one overseeing it. So that's worse. And I just think they massively increased the failure to delivers when they brought in the reg show. They took away the uptick rule. They gave an exemption if you're a market maker. And according to this one article, you don't even have to know who your customer is anymore. You just accept the orders. And this is larceny on a institutionalized scale. And it's on behalf of the big broker dealers and the big hedge funds. And the regulators are captured. And Congress doesn't know what it's talking about. And there's no journalism anymore. And no one cares. They just as soon listen to people support this. And who does it benefit? It doesn't benefit the United States. Trillions of dollars leave the market without paying taxes? How does that benefit the United States? But no, it wasn't. Yeah, you had Shelton last night, and you think he beats the Joker? I think Dos Equis, Shelton could beat Djokovic, but what I count on is, you're right, he can whack the heck out of the ball, but he's left-handed too, but he's never seen the ball come back to him over and over and over and over again, deep, the way Djokovic can do it. Also, Djokovic played for years against Nadal, the left-hander, so I don't think it intimidates Djokovic. And the serves that he whacks, they don't all go in. So Djokovic will be content returning the ones he can, congratulating him on the others, and then letting the errors build up. There's no player in tennis who is better at controlling the court, precision of shots, consistency, good at every aspect of it, than Djokovic. Alcaraz is really showing that, but Dos Equis, I think Shelton can beat Alcaraz. And yes, I agree with you. I don't think you're wrong. All right, Spiny. I know it's a joke. Ham talks about friends and how many shares they have. Has he ever mentioned how many shares he has? Yes, he has. Are you seriously asking me in a public forum to disclose to you somebody else's stock position, which they shared with me in confidence? I'm not going to do that. Tim Yikes. I doubt Timothy Yikes is a millionaire. He's a complete fraud. The voice. The voice. No, I'm not betting on tennis, but I get just as much fun out of doing this as if I were betting. If there were a pool, I'd go doing it. You're basing it on the shape the kid is in, his ability, and the heat wearing down Djokovic. Yeah, I think I heard that Djokovic asked to play at noon again or 1 o'clock against Fritz. Only thing I can think of, if that's true, is he wanted to get the experience. Yeah, the kid has a lot of energy. But he's going to hit a lot of balls long. He's going to hit a lot of balls wide. And he's not... Now, did you see that shot yesterday that Shelton had? He was about to lose the set. It was second serve, yes. But he was down, I don't remember the score. But anyway, it was add in. And it was set point. He unleashed a shot cross court that was unbelievable. It was magnificent. If he does that, that'll be great. The one thing that I saw in the Djokovic Fritz match, that was a terrible match. I mean, they were both tired. They were both making mistakes. But the one thing I saw, Djokovic didn't serve very well. He did not serve very well, and he won. If he can get his first serve into the 70% range, he'll beat Shelton. He'll beat Shelton. Yeah, he's amazing. I've watched Djokovic for a long time, and I think he's as good as he's ever been. Easily as good as he's ever been. It's slightly different. But, yeah, Dos Equis, it'll be difficult. Don't get me wrong. I'm nervous for that match. I really am nervous about that match. I don't think Alcaraz is going to go to the final, by the way. Will it be Zverev? Maybe. But Zverev is worn out. But Medvedev could beat Alcaraz. Alcaraz, he ain't so tough. He ain't so tough. He's your fellow countryman? Yeah, Nico, I happen to agree with that. And I actually think I think Djokovic is a tremendous person. Absolutely tremendous person. And I like his wife too. But Djokovic, he's not well loved, but I love him. I think he's great. And I think those other two guys that are well loved, I don't think they're so great. So that's how I see it. I think Djokovic in 3. I agree with you, Peter. I don't even think it'll go 4 sets. I think Djokovic will come out and he'll win the first set with at least 1 break, but maybe 2. The kid will start firing away in the second set, but it won't scare little Bill. And the third, by the time it's the third set, it'll be well in hand. Carlitos wins the final in 4. If he plays Djokovic, it'll either be 3 sets or 5 sets, not 4, in my opinion. And Djokovic will win. If Carlito plays Shelton, pretty interesting, because Carlito doesn't have a good serve. I mean, it's not consistent. And they both have these shots. But Alcaraz is probably better with his drop shot. But Shelton can run and run and run and run. Yeah, Shelton was a quarterback, and that's why he's got that great action on his serve, and he's got the confidence. You're absolutely right. He's not intimidated in front of the crowd. But Djokovic isn't intimidated either. We'll find out. All right, let me see if it's on now, so I'm going to go watch it. Wow. Rublev is beating Medvedev 3-0? 3-0? Rublev is good too. These young kids are good. All right, I'm going to say good night, say good afternoon. It looks like it's another boring day. But I really think one of these moments, we're going to go, oh my gosh, what happened? And it's going to be up. So that's what I think. Could be wrong. You're welcome. Woody, you're welcome. I don't do the greatest job in the world, but sometimes I overreact. I know that, but I am working on it. I'm trying to change myself. Have you ever noticed that when the light hits Susan from a certain angle, she's really quite lovely? Of course, you can't always count on that light. Okay, I'm going to go watch this tennis. So I'm going to say good afternoon. We'll see you on the flip side tomorrow, I'm sure around noon tomorrow. So peace, everyone.